Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. In today's video, we have my Matchday 1 World Cup Fantasy Football team selection video. If you are excited for all of the World Cup Fantasy Football content to come, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. We're going to aim for 1,500 likes on this video, so if it's still not at that target, please do drop a like. But without further ado, let's jump to today's video. Before we jump into this video, it is worth noting that I did release a video earlier this week talking about how to play World Cup Fantasy Football, the difference in like the point scoring system between World Cup Fantasy Football and also FPL, and also the differences in rules, because there's a very big differences in like transfers, captaincy, substitutions, and also the chips/boosters available. So I would go back and watch that video first if you've not yet watched it. It will just give you a much better foundation before looking at my team, because my team is set up in a way that obviously would be absolutely crazy in FPL, but does suit the World Cup Fantasy Football format. So with all that being said, I'm currently lining up in a 3-5-2, but the formations are very fluid due to substitutions in this game being manual as well as automatic. And I do have a chip in play. Now, I haven't 100% confirmed that, because the chip that I'm looking to play is the 12th man. Now, the 12th man chip basically allows you to gain an extra player that has no budgetary restraints, and also you can pick like a fourth player from a nation that you maybe already own 3 players from. So in other words, you can basically add any player in the game. So I'm currently looking at playing my 12th man chip. The reason I haven't actually 100% activated that is because once you activate it and select the player that you want as your 12th man, you can't change that, you can't cancel that. So if you've not yet done it, I would wait, because if we get news, for example, maybe you want to put Harry Kane as your 12th man, and we get news that Kane's injured, all of a sudden you've wasted that chip, you can't change the player. So for that reason, I've not yet activated it, but I'm 99.9% sure that I will be, and I'm pretty set on the player as well. As we'll move on to the forwards, you'll see who it is. So starting in defence, I've got Unai Simón. I've got Unai Simón as my keeper from Spain. They're playing against Costa Rica on the Wednesday. As you'll see in a second, my substitute keeper is playing on the Thursday. So it is worth noting there are a couple of like keepers that I really like that both played at very similar times on like the Thursday. Now you can substitute them out as long as they play at different times. However, I just don't want to risk that. So I think I'll have the Spain keeper playing on Wednesday, and then I'll have my other keeper coming in on the Thursday, because again, you do have manual substitutions in this game. So I think he's a good one. I really do want more Spain players in my team. I actually want Ferran Torres, as we'll discuss when we move on to the forwards as well. I do think they've got some good defenders like Jordi Alba. They've got some decent midfielders too, but you can't own everyone. And I think that's a decent route, because I think some of the other keepers are good as well, but I think this is a decent route into the Spain defence. And I think that Costa Rica is a decent fixture, I think, for them in Matchday 1. And then the defence, to be honest, I'm really just targeting attacking returns. But I've also got teams that are very, very high up for clean sheet percentages in Matchday 1. So I don't gamble, I don't bet particularly, but you can actually look at the clean sheet odds by the bookies, because that gives you a bit of an idea about who they expect to keep clean sheets. And England, the Netherlands, and also Denmark are 3 of the teams that have the highest predicted chance for a clean sheet. Obviously, England have got Iran, we've got the Netherlands against Senegal, and then we've got Denmark against Tunisia. As you can see under each name, by the way, I've got the date that they play, because that is very important due to the manual substitutions that we have available. I think Trippier will start ahead of Trent. I don't see any reason why they would play Trent. I think Trippier deserves to start in that spot. I think whether it's a back 5 or a back 4, you could argue that Trippier will play that spot to I think it'll be better for the England team, to be honest. And the great thing about Trippier is he'll take free kicks, he'll take corners, and he'll just be very, very involved in the action. Now, with Gareth Southgate's teams, whether it's a back 5 or a back 4, the wing-back/fullbacks don't get as high as you would expect when you see the likes of like a Chelsea or a Liverpool. So it really will be a back 5 or a back 4. So he's not really playing wing-back regardless. But I still think he's a great option. And I do just want to get into that England defence. As we'll see when we move on to the rest of my team, I don't necessarily expect England to score tons of goals in match day 1, but I do expect them to do relatively well defensively. And as a result, I'm putting Trippier into the team. Dumfries, I think there's a similar thing here. I could see the Netherlands conceding. Obviously, Mane being ruled out of the World Cup is big for a defensive perspective in game week 1, but Dumfries is just so good going forward. He does look like he's going to be fit, because there were a few injury concerns with him. He did pick up an injury in his last club game before the World Cup, but it looks like he'll be fine. I think it's a good fixture. And he's just an absolute monster. And I think he's the most owned defender in the game. So I think he's a player that you probably don't want to bet against. And if you do bet against him, you might still want to try and get a defender from the Netherlands, whether it be like Ake, Van Dijk, whoever you go for. It's probably still worth trying to cover them. And then the third and final one, along with Dumfries, was an absolute hero in the Euros fantasy game last year, which is Mailer. Obviously, against Tunisia, it's a really nice fixture. I think he plays fullback. Do correct me down below if I'm wrong. I don't think Denmark play a back 5. I think they play a back 4. Regardless, he gets forward really, really well. He's relatively two-footed. I think he's got something like 9 goals in the last 30 games or something ridiculous for Denmark. So he's going to get attacking returns if he gets the opportunities. And I really, really like him for that first game. So that's my defense at the moment. As you can see, apart from the Spain keeper, I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try again. The Spain keeper, I think the rest of the defense play relatively earlier in the week, which is nice because if any of them blank, I've got 2 decent defenders to come on from the bench, and then I can substitute him in for those defenders as well. So that's the defense. Let's move on to the midfield. So a really important note that I forgot to make at the start of the video is that I'm almost definitely going to be playing my wildcard in Matchday 2. Now, the reason for that is the way that the wildcard works in World Cup Fantasy Football and the way that the deadlines work is that Matchday 1 is ongoing throughout the entirety of Matchday 1, and Matchday 2 doesn't start until Matchday 1 finishes. Now, in something like FPL, as soon as the deadline passes for a game week, the next game week starts. But because the way the match days work and because they're fluid, technically, if you play your wildcard in Matchday 2, so let's say when Matchday 1 ends, and I start in Matchday 2 after the game that ends on Thursday evening, and I play my wildcard in Matchday 2, I can make unlimited transfers for my team in Matchday 2. But of course, remember, Matchday 2 will be ongoing through the entirety of Matchday 2 as well. So if you actually wait for all of your players to play in Matchday 2, you get unlimited transfers for that matchday, and then you start making transfers during the final game of Matchday 2 when all of your players have played, you can essentially also get a free hit or a wild card for Matchday 3 as well before we then get unlimited transfers in Matchday 4. If I've done a poor job at explaining that or it's just not clear to you, basically what that means is we have unlimited transfers for Matchday 1. If you play the wildcard in Matchday 2, you have unlimited transfers there. If you make the transfers at the correct point in Matchday 2, you can then basically get a wildcard for Matchday 3, and then we get unlimited transfers for Matchday 4 anyway. So basically, for the first 4 weeks, you can have a fresh team each of those weeks. So you've basically got 3 free hits in the group stages in Matchday 1, 2, and 3. And then in Matchday 4, you have unlimited transfers, which you want to build a team that you think will do well for the knockout stages. So hopefully that's clear. But basically, I think wildcard Matchday 2 makes a lot of sense. And as a result, I'm basically building this team purely with Matchday 1 in mind. However, a lot of these players have decent-ish fixtures in Matchday 2, just in case I change my mind. Hopefully that is clear. But moving on to the midfield, I've got a 5-man midfield at the moment. Obviously, like I said, it depends how they do it. Might end up the formation ends up switching. I've got DePaul at the moment. Now, DePaul's a tricky one because I think he's such great value at 5 million. But there are so many other good players that I really want from Argentina as well. I'd love a defender, or I'd love Emi Martinez. I'd quite like, as well, the strikers, Lautaro Martinez, Messi, but Di Maria in midfield is great as well. So you can't own all of them, but I just think at 5 million, there's no one that comes close to the pool for me. As far as I know, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think he plays an advanced number 8 role. So basically, he plays in midfield, but he'll get forward quite a lot. He's had a few returns for the international team. He knows how to score goals and to get assists. So I think he's a player that will do fairly well. I can't say that I've watched a ton of him, but Argentina fans seem very excited by him. I think at 5 million, considering he's very, very much nailed in that Argentina team, according again to the predictions, I think he's a pretty good player to have. Really nice fixture in Matchday 1 as well. If he does well in Matchday 1, maybe we'll have him for future match days as well. But like I said, specific focus on Matchday 1 here. Saudi Arabia is a really nice fixture. And I think DePaul, whilst I think Di Maria is great, it's probably worth saving the money there. I've then got Skov Olsen. Now, again, not a player I know a massive amount about, but apparently has the chance for attacking returns as well. I'll be honest, I would love Eriksen in that role. I've got Mailer already against Tunisia. As I said, Denmark are a really good team. I think they're underdogs once again. They performed incredibly well in the Euros as well. They obviously won our hearts too. But I think that they are a team that could do fairly well against Tunisia. I would love Eriksen, but I just can't afford him if I want to go for the rest of the players that I've got. At the moment, Skov Olsen's the one that gets the nod. Again, I can't say that I know a massive amount, but people seem pretty excited by him. And at his price, which is, again, relatively cheap, I think he's 6 million. Let me just double check that before I lie. Yeah, 6 million. I think you can definitely do worse than him. So he's in there for that reason, mainly due to the fixture. I've got Perisic, who we know quite a lot about from the Premier League. He plays on the left wing for Croatia, takes a lot of set pieces as well, so he's going to be very advanced. He's not on penalties. Modric is on penalties for Croatia. But outside of that, he's pretty much going to be involved in a lot of what they do. And again, against Morocco in Matchday 1, I think it's a really, really nice fixture for him. So I fancy Perisic to do fairly well here. And it's a player that I'm excited to own because I haven't owned him much in FPL this season due to rotation. But we know for a fact he's going to start for Croatia and play a lot of minutes. So I really like him. I've got Bergwijn. As far as we know, he's going to play a 3-5-2. And Bergwijn will be part of that front two. I think it's actually Janssen that he's playing alongside for the first match day. And then after that, I think Depay will be coming in and playing alongside him. And I think it will be Gakpo in the number 10. A few people have been looking at Gakpo. Could be a decent option. But I think Bergwijn's the most nailed. And he's also got some good attacking threat as well. For 7 million he is. I think that's a really good price. And Senegal, obviously, like I said, due to Mane being ruled out of the World Cup, that won't directly affect their defense, but it might affect their confidence. And they're not I do think they're a great team, obviously, and I don't want to discredit them, but I do think Mane is very, very important to them. I don't think this is an easy fixture. I think there are teams here that have easier fixtures than the Netherlands, but I still think they're a team that I want to target. And as a result, I've got Bergwijn in there. And so the fifth and final midfielder is Kevin De Bruyne. Now, this is a player that I actually know what I'm talking about, similar to Perisic and Trippier, because they play in the Premier League. I've looked at their statistics all season long. We know what they're about. And he's a player that is going to be involved in everything that Belgium do. He's talismanic. He'll be on corners. He'll be on free kicks. I don't believe he'll be on penalties. I think that'll be one of Lukaku or Hazard, probably Hazard. So I think he'll be involved in everything bar penalties. And he's just a player that I think on his day could rack up a hell of a lot of points. Key passes and tackles obviously do contribute. He's a player that breaks up play, and he's a player that can put together 4 to 6 key passes with relative ease. He's one of very few players in world football that can. He's good for assists. He's good for goals as well. So I think on his day, he's one of very few players in this game that could rack up 15 plus points. My issue with De Bruyne isn't necessarily that I don't like De Bruyne or I don't like the fixture. I think Canada aren't the weakest team by any means, but I think it's a decent fixture. It's more so that in my current team, I've got one premium spot left. And for me, it's either De Bruyne or Kane. I've got to try and decide, do I want Kane, do I want De Bruyne? I think Kane being on penalties is great, and I do think that Iran's a decent fixture, but I just don't see England being free scoring. I hope they are, I really do, but I can't see it. And I just feel like De Bruyne has probably got the highest ceiling, but Kane's more likely to get a return, just because he's the striker for England, obviously. And like I said, he's on penalties too. So at the moment, I've got De Bruyne there because I'm looking for those hauls. This is a game that I'm trying to have fun with, and I love watching De Bruyne play. So I'm thinking maybe if Kane scores, I'm delighted anyway. If De Bruyne scores, then obviously I can be delighted for a fantasy football reason. So I think I'm going to go De Bruyne for that reason. I think it's a player that I want to watch and I want to own him. And it's just exciting. I haven't really owned him in FPL this season as well. So De Bruyne makes up the 5-man midfield. He is one of 3 premiums in my team, or actually 4 because of the 12th man. So let's move on to the forwards, the 12th man chip that we've got in play, or the 12th man booster, and also the bench as well, which will bring the team together. So this is the exciting part of the video because this is where all of the money is, and also the booster that I've got active, the 12th man is as well. So let's start with the double up top for Argentina, which is Lautaro Martinez and Messi. I do have both of them along with De Paul. Like I said, it does form an Argentina triple up in the attack. And I just think that this is a game where I could see now. It is worth noting, Saudi Arabia haven't conceded a lot of goals recently. They've been fairly tight, but this is a game that I could see Argentina going out and absolutely battering them. The amount of attacking prowess they have, they should be winning this game comfortably. They should be winning most games comfortably. And I just fancy Messi to do really well in this World Cup. So at the moment, Messi is my captain. So just to clear up captaincy, because we have had the rules cleared up, it's basically exactly as I explained in my video earlier in the week. You can essentially have 2 chances at captain. So you have the first chance, and if you want to then change that captain, you have 1 more chance. Now, there's an important but obvious but important caveat, which is if you captain Messi, say on the Tuesday, and you decide you then aren't happy with Messi's captaincy score and you want to change your captain to Neymar, you lose the double of Messi's points. So say Messi gets 6 points, double to 12, and then you decide to change your captaincy to Neymar on the Thursday and captain Neymar instead, you lose the 6 points from Messi, so you're left with just the single 6. Hopefully that makes sense, but a lot of people I think you have like 2 captains. You just get a chance of changing your captain if you're not happy with the first captain. So just to rule out any people that thought you could have a different captain on every match day, that is incorrect. You get your first chance at captaincy. Once that first captain has played, you can then change that captain once more to another player, such as Neymar. And then if Neymar blanks, then that's it. You've got your second chance captain, and then you keep Neymar's points. Hopefully that's clear. If it's not, let me know, and I'll try and clear that up down in the comments. So basically, Messi will be my first captain on the Tuesday. And then, like I said, my second captain is going to be Neymar, who's currently on my bench. Now, the reason Neymar's on my bench is he plays on the Thursday. So basically, before Neymar's game on Thursday, one of my attackers that blank out of De Paul, Scott Olsen, Perisic, Bergwijn, De Bruyne, Martinez, or even Messi, I will substitute them out for Neymar. I'll bring Neymar in, and then I will captain Neymar, assuming that Messi either blanks or only gets 1 return. I think if Messi gets 2 returns, I don't plan on switching the captaincy. I'll probably keep it on Messi and then just have Neymar coming in for his single points. Hopefully that's clear. So Messi and Neymar are going to be my 2 captains. I might not even switch to Neymar though if Messi does really well. Like I said, Lautaro Martinez is in there. I love him as an option. There are a few reasons that maybe I wouldn't want to pick him or I might switch off. The first is he was rested in Argentina's recent friendly. Now, I don't think that was an injury. I think that was literally a rest. But Julian Alvarez, as we know from the Premier League, has been fantastic in recent weeks. So there is a chance that he gets his minutes managed, Martinez, or at least he's rotated a little bit with Alvarez, especially as we move towards the latter match days. But maybe match day 1, he'll be safe. The other thing is I do really like Di Maria. I really like Emi Martinez, maybe like a Romero in defense or any of the defenders from Argentina. So there are some really other good options that I could pick instead of him. And I also like some of the forwards. For example, I really like Ferran Torres. I believe he's at 7 million. I think there are some really decent other options from different teams that you could pick in there. And as a result, I think maybe could I go for Di Maria or could I go for Emi Martinez in goal and then maybe switch Martinez to someone else? So I've got a few options there, but at the moment, it's a bit of a gut feeling. I just expect Lautaro Martinez to do well. And again, I'm picking players that I want to watch and I want to do well in this tournament. And he is one of those players that I think will do really well for Argentina. So that's my sort of front line. On the bench, I've also got Cancelo, £6 million. He's my joint most expensive defender along with Dumfries. I just wanted a route into that Portugal defence. Again, he is on the bench because he plays on the Thursday. So before Thursday, I need to get Neymar on and I need to get Cancelo onto the pitch as well. And then I've got Borna Sosa as my 5th and final defender and my 3rd sub. He's only 3.5 million. He's starting wing back or full back for Croatia. He's going to get forward a fair bit. And I really like the fixture again against Morocco. Like I said with Perisic, decent fixture. And I expect Croatia to do fairly well. I just need to get him onto the pitch before Wednesday. So that's the outfield players. And on the bench, I've also got, I'm going to say Ferreira Rocher. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I do apologise. The goalkeeper from Uruguay. Now, I do not know 100% that he's their starting keeper, but I've asked a few people and they seem to think that he's going to start. So at 4 million, seems like a bit of a no-brainer. If he doesn't, maybe I'll just get the points from Unai Simone. I don't think it's a huge issue. I've seen a lot of people going for one keeper anyway and just saying, I'm not going to invest in an extra keeper. I'm just going to go for one keeper and hope they do well. That's a fine tactic as well. But I think if we do have a cheap option available, it makes sense to maybe pay slightly extra just to have a second chance if, for example, Spain do concede. So those are my 15 players. But as you can see, I do have a 12th man and a 16th player in this case, which is Mbappe. So this is one of the boosters available. It allows you to pick an extra player with no budgetary constraints and also no constraints such as having 4 players from one team. So if I wanted to, my 12th man could be Di Maria. So there is the option there as well. But I just think it makes sense to go for Mbappe because I want to own a France attacker. I think Mbappe is arguably one of the best players in world football and he's going to be one of the best options in this game. And also he's he is the most expensive player in World Cup fantasy football. So it makes sense if I've got no budgetary constraints to get as many of the other players I can into my starting 11 and then have the most expensive player that I possibly can as my 12th man. And like I said, if I'm going to play the wildcard in Matchday 2 anyway, which is looking very likely, then for this week, I'll put Mbappe as my 12th man. And if I want him from Matchday 2 onwards, then I can just have him in my wildcard team. If I don't wildcard in Matchday 2, I think Mbappe's got a slightly tricky fixture anyway in Matchday 2. So I obviously would want him in Matchday 2, but I don't think it's a huge issue if I don't own him. So hopefully that's clear there. That's why he's my 12th man. I haven't yet confirmed that 100% because obviously you can't change the 12th man once you confirm that, but I'm pretty sure he will be. I think it's a decent fixture against Australia. If Mbappe got injured or for some reason he wasn't there, I could go for Benzema, or I could go for Harry Kane, or I could just not play the 12th man in Matchday 1. But I think I want to play it. I want to get off to a good start. And at the moment, Mbappe makes up the 12th man in my starting 11. So that is the team. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think of my plan of 12th man followed by wildcard in Matchday 2. Let me know if I've made any major mistakes for any of these players. I do apologise if I have. If I've made a stupid mistake, like picked a player that's not at the World Cup or picked a player that's injured or pronounced someone's name wrong, I really do apologise. Like I said, this is for a bit of fun. This is for entertainment, not necessarily advice. But if you like my team, feel free to copy parts of it. Feel free to change parts of it. This is supposed to be a game that we're going to enjoy and have fun with over the next few weeks. And yeah, I think trust your gut feeling would be my number one piece of advice. If you like a player like Lautaro Martinez, I'm not saying no one else has picked him, but I think a lot of people go for Di Maria. I just fancy him to do fairly well. If there's a player that you really want to own, just go for it and have a bit of fun with it. You don't have to go super template in a game like this because it's over a short format. We want to enjoy the World Cup, have a bit of fun with it. So that is my team. Let me know down below if there are any changes you would make. And also feel free to type out your team down below and I'll let you know what I think of some of them. So guys, there you have it. That is my Matchday 1 team selection ahead of the World Cup for World Cup Fantasy Football. I hope that was enjoyable for you. And if you are playing the game and you want to follow my journey and get some advice throughout and some entertainment as well, please do subscribe to the channel. We're not got a particular target in mind, but I just want to keep the channel growing. And make sure to drop a like on the video as well. We're going to try and hit 1,500 likes on this video. And the more that you like these videos and the more that you comment, the more I'm going to want to create content because it means that you're actually getting some use from it. It's nothing to do with making money. It's nothing to do with growing the channel. It's to do with wanting to provide value for you. And if no one's enjoying the videos, then it makes less sense to make them. So if you are enjoying them and you want to keep seeing them, please do drop a like, please do comment, please subscribe as well. Also, little request, please do follow me over on Instagram as well. I'm trying to grow my Instagram a little bit more. A little bit because Twitter looks like it could die any second, but also I'm really enjoying posting some more personal stuff over there. So if you're interested in more personal stuff, for example, I went to the Football Content Awards on Wednesday, in which I won the Bronze Award. So massive thank you to everyone that voted. If you want to follow some more stuff like that, go follow the Instagram. I'll remember to put something on the screen so that you can see what that is. It's at FPL__Raptor. I'd appreciate you following me there for some more personal stuff. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.